Good morning, everybody. How's everybody this morning? Good. Anybody else ready to get out on the water and have some fun in the summer after seeing that? Because I am. Welcome to 1 Million Cups. My name is Ashley Woolidge. I'm with Nomi Promo, but I'm also part of a very, very awesome team who puts together this presentation every week. Who's a first-timer here this week? Got a few of you? Thank you guys for coming. Woo, let's give them a round of applause. Lucky for you, we don't do the whole humiliation and American Idol style thing on the 5th Wednesday of the month, so congratulations, you get to sit in the seat and enjoy it. But actually, no, why you're here is we are a weekly program getting an entrepreneur or a community builder on stage and hearing a little bit more about them. So, yeah, we want to change the face of our startup community and our Bismarck Mandan community over a cup of coffee at a time. Up to this point, we've served 717 cups of coffee this calendar year, and I think that's pretty phenomenal. So give yourselves a round of applause for being in the seats. We wouldn't be here without our sponsors. Vente sponsors, our Grande sponsors, and our Tall sponsors. So thank you guys for being part of our community. We also have some in-kind people. People that donate time, talents, and treasures to the program, and so these are sponsors that do that. And then today we're gonna have a presentation. At the end we'll have some Q&A, so make sure to have your questions top of mind and ready to go for us. So, and we've got lots of community announcements. Tyler's up in, but guess what day it is today? Today is National Stop Food Waste Day. And I didn't know really what that was, so I did some research, and apparently 30 to 60% of food is actually thrown away, which is kind of crazy. So look into it on the calendar, take a scan of the QR code, and take a look and see ways to stop food waste. Tyler's up in our AV booth, and so he asked that I share the business builder along with their partners. There's some awesome good land. Why am I so nervous? Anyway, there's some awesome webinars coming up. There's QR codes. I'll give you a chance to scan them if you need them. Anything else you want to add, Tyler? Good? Okay. Awesome. This one is mine. If you guys are in the mood for some new promo or want to see what's new and upcoming, we're going to buy you lunch. Come have some pizza and see what's new. I've got lots of vendors coming to town, so I am giving away $100 towards a promotional product order to one lucky person if anybody wants to come and check it out. You do need to pre-register for that, so. And then, is Ricky here? All right, they've got a axe throwing and cornhole mixer coming up, and he talked about it last week. It sounds like a great time. 701 venue, you get to throw some axes, throw some cornhole bags, and have a lot of fun, so. It'll be a great time. They do want to pre-register so that they kind of have an idea, so take a look in RSVP. And then Jennifer.
Okay, hi, my name is Jennifer Dahl. I actually work for the Bismarck Mandan Chamber EDC, so proud to be a sponsor. I'm also on the board of IABC, it's the International Association of Business Communicators. So this, we're a professional development organization for marketing communications folks. So if you don't want to go to Ashley's promo day on May 12th, we would love to have you at our annual conference. It's called Communicate Stronger. Can you go to the next slide too? We're going to be at the Eclipse venue, so the newest, hottest venue in town here. We've got a full day of programming. We've got Mandy Anderson is our keynote sponsor. We've got all local speakers, so that's another great part of the community. We're going to be talking about AI, social media, public speaking. We're going to have a behind-the-scenes look at the marketing campaign for Giving Hearts Day, and we're also going to have the branding story, kind of behind the scenes about the branding of the Eclipse venue itself. So I wanted to offer everybody here 20% off of your registration. If you wanted to join us, you can scan the code or scan the QR code and get 20% off. Or if it's not up your alley, if you know someone who does marketing communications looking to connect with other people, I would really appreciate the share. Thank you.
All right, does anybody else have any community announcement? Oh, I got one more. That one got added. Anybody here for that one? Perfect.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Jill Ettinger, and I own Sapphire Gallery and Custom Framing, and we are in North Bismarck, opened in November. And so some of you, if you were here in March, you remember we did kind of a play on March Madness with our artwork, and it was very, very fun. And if you were online and voted, thank you, because my artists had a ball seeing how many votes that they got each week. So next Thursday, we have a Meet the Artist event. Shannon Waringa is from Bismarck here, and she's a painter. And she actually, fun fact, she's the reason that I am here at 1 Million Cups. There's more to that story that I'll share some other time, but Thursday, May 7th, from 4:30 to 7, we have a Meet the Artist event with Shannon. She will have much of her artwork at the gallery, and you are invited to come and meet her, see her artwork, see the gallery, because we are new, so a lot of people don't know that we exist. So we are up on Ottawa Street in North Bismarck, and we welcome you to come.
All right, does anybody else have any community announcements? Perfect. If you do have something that you'd like to get on there, there's the email address. Send us a slide and be prepared to tell us about it. So with that being said, we'll get on to the main event here. So I'd love to introduce Drew Combs. I was visiting with him a little bit ahead of time, and I'm excited to hear what he has to say. He's got lots of things to say about international trade, so let's welcome him on up.
Oh, thank you. All right, let me get out of the way here. So thanks everybody for coming. I'm going to run through this presentation pretty quick because I understand there's a lot of questions. So let's go ahead and get started. So I am the Executive Director of the North Dakota Trade Office. We are a private-public partnership. Our main office actually is in Fargo. I am here in Bismarck, mainly to be closer to our government here. I was just talking to somebody, it's kind of funny. I have a bunch of young folks out in the Fargo office, and they set us up in the new Peltier Center there at NDSU. Really super nice, bougie office, and all those guys want to work from home, and I work from home, and I want to work in an office, so, that's the way it works. So the North Dakota Trade Office, we, in a nutshell, what we do is we're the international link for the state. We do that, of course, by advocacy, education, collaboration, and expertise, So I do report to a board. There's 12 members. 4 of those are mandated. You can see those there. Really lucky. I finally talked the First Lady of coming on the board, and she's been really helpful, especially some of this diplomatic stuff that we do. So there's the team. Again, all these guys are in Fargo, but we work all over the state. Just want you guys to remember Yuka there at the end. She's going to come up here in a little bit. So some of the services we offer a lot more than this, but we have a lot of databases that we can do market research, see if your product or your service, if it's compatible with where you want to go. We also have a pretty strong database to find what we call it a bad guy search. So it looks all over the world and compiles those who are not the greatest actors in the world. Again, nothing's ever 100%, but we can really dial it in. We do trade missions. You've probably seen them in the paper. We do quite a few of those, and that's the idea of that is to get North Dakota companies overseas. So beforehand, we help arrange meetings with potential buyers, investors, that sort of thing. So you have meetings set up, and you can meet them in their home turf. International assistance, we do specific projects. One of the things that we do different than most states, which we're really proud of, is we help North Dakota companies build satellite offices or expand their business overseas physically. And most don't want to do that, but we see it as a way of bringing revenue back to the state. Amazing things, North Dakota. One of the problems with North Dakota is we're all very humble and we don't go and brag about stuff we do. People don't realize we've revolutionized Kazakhstan's beef industry. Kazakhstan's one of the largest countries in the world, and you got North Dakota beef out in Kazakhstan. We've got operations going on, companies operating in Saudi Arabia right now, working on some deals in Morocco, Qatar, all these different places. So just something to think about. We have the Export Assistant Program. So that's where UCA comes in. And this is something that might be of interest to the folks out here. They're looking for people to go to work for them. So Dickinson, one of the professors, called me out there about 6 years ago and said, hey, I got this young girl. She's really great. She was a sophomore at Dickinson State, and she's really interested in international business. So I met with her. Of course, she's Japanese, so we have a lot of engagement with Japan. So I needed help, especially with some translation. So worked with her while she got her undergrad, and then this Export Assistant Program is a program that we help pay for her master's degree, and NDSU covers some of the rest. So in a sense, they get a free master's degree from NDSU, and then they can come to work for us. The rule is they can work 20 hours during the regular school year, and then 40 hours during the summer. And they either come to work for us or we pair them with a company that does international business, and we pay for that. We also provide education in various types of, depending on what you're doing, we'll hold seminars and that sort of thing. Another thing we do, we are the diplomatic arm of the state, so we help with these visits. You might have seen in the paper or what have you, we get ambassadors, consul generals all the time, and really the goal is to keep North Dakota on the world stage. So grant funding programs, we do administer 3 grants. The State Trade Expansion Promotion Program, STEP grant, that's been a long-running grant run through the SBA. Kind of in flux right now. We're not sure what's going to happen, but with this program, it allows us, to help offset cost of North Dakota businesses wanting to expand overseas. So a lot of them use it for trade missions, and it covers most of their costs for the trade mission. There's a $5,000 limit during the first round, and then after that, if there's any money left, we kind of open it up. It's amazing to me. It's free money, and we've got to beg people to take it. So, specialty crop program, it's kind of confined to that specialty crops that are grown here in North Dakota, which we're one of the largest producers of specialty crops, so we get quite a bit of that. That's actually run through the federal Department of Agriculture, which then the North Dakota Department of Agriculture passes through to us. And then we have our own Export ND program. That's actually funded by us. I think we got about $150,000, run similar to the STEP grant. So additional activities, one of our big programs has been the International Visitors Program, and it's hosted around the Big Iron Farm Show. And of course, this originally started to get more people interested in buying ag machinery. But we've turned it into something else. They can all see, North Dakota's ag industry and other things that are available. We regularly have between 80 and 120 guests from all over the world come. We give them a week-long program, super successful. You'll see in a minute, it's one of the reasons why Australia is on the map. We have 2 Australian buyers that come every other year, and they buy, a couple $100 million worth of machinery every year. So, of course, we mentioned the Export Assistance Program, foreign direct investment. This would probably be interesting to a lot of you. Does everybody know what that term means? This is international guys or international banks, institutions, sovereign wealth funds that are looking to invest in the United States through companies. So we're constantly looking for those investors. So we also work with angel investors to come and help support North Dakota businesses. We have folks that'll invest, anywhere from $100 to billions. We've got some of those in the works right now. So talk to me about that. Reverse trade missions, that's actually bringing delegates, whomever they are, here and letting them see North Dakota. Now, about 6 years ago, I was misquoted in the paper about selling North Dakota. This is exactly what I was talking about. If I can ever get somebody to North Dakota, I can sell them. It's easy. And that's one of the strengths that North Dakota has. If I can get them here, they're amazed, just as long as it's not in the winter. But you would be amazed at how many, especially those from the Middle East, want to come out during the winter because they've never seen snow or they want to experience it. And that works too. So here's a little bit of statistics on this foreign direct investment in North Dakota. Again, North Dakota, real quiet folks. We don't want to brag. So we have 250 international employers. You can see how many people are employed in the state and this is majority owned. We're the top 3 international employers, Canada, Norway, and Italy. In our top sectors, you can kind of read that, but food and beverages and energy is definitely the big ones on that. So, of course, oil and gas, there's a lot that fits into that bucket. Because actually, I probably should change that. It's not just oil and gas, it's other products as well. Oil seeds, cereals, industrial machinery, and vehicles. Now, in vehicles and everything included, steering wheels or, that sort of thing. It's broken down too. This is what we export quarterly. This one went kind of wonky. Because some of the 2025, those statistics just came out, and to make it consistent throughout the chart, we had to remove one. Would you like to guess which one that is? China. And they were right at number 4. And they missed out because of the soybean issue. Oh, one more look at that. So, $300 and something million. So, agriculture exports, North Dakota does import or export a lot of agriculture products. You guys probably could guess that. Okay, so why go global? We being the United States, we're really in a good spot right now to start exporting more. We have problems though. We have everything in place to do really good, but we're hemmed off a little bit because of the current political situations and that sort of thing. And this numbers actually went down a little bit because it was 98, but you think of this, 95% of the world's population is outside of the United States. Theretofore, 95% of the customers are also outside of the United States. Products that end their life cycle in the U.S. can gain new life in foreign markets. So I go back to my Aussies, my Australian guys. So because they're buying John Deere and Case and Cat and all those things like that, these are all used machinery. So, because they can't compete with the Australian, it's against the rules, John Deere rules. An Australian can't go and buy, 20 tractors here and have a North Dakota company compete with the John Deere dealership in that state in Australia. So we sell used machinery. The kicker to that is because of how the ag industry works and the machinery industry works, we have very gently used equipment. And a lot of times our customers that see that are amazed at what, you've only got one with 200 hours on it? Yeah, we'll take it. So, that's it. Thank you.
Awesome. Ross is going to be running around with a mug, and it looks like we got questions already, but who are the people that you directly deal with stateside in North Dakota? Like, who would come and see you?
All of them. So anybody, businesses that are interested in exporting, or businesses that are looking for investment, and it's the whole gamut. I get calls from the lady that's making jewelry in her garage, and then I get calls for people trying to expand plants, wanting to enter the oil and gas market here. So again, it's everything from, hey, we want to know how to do this. Worked with a lady that sells soap, and worked with her for a couple years to get her ready for exporting. Was able to take her out some places, and now she's selling soap in Asia. So expanded her business, and it actually doubled her business. So kind of proud of that.
My question is kind of a sideways question here. How do you, if you do with the international questionable businesses, vet the companies or the people or the potential customers from being spies? And like the Chinese wanted to invest and buy land near our Air Force bases and so forth years ago. And
that was not me, by the way.
yeah, that's
I read that in the paper just like everybody else did.
okay. All right, thank you.
So that's a good question, and I know I get that quite a bit. So we have the resources to cut that off pretty quick. Again, can't ever say 100%, but we know the right folks, and it's like anything. It's who you know, and we run those through quite frequently, to make sure. Sometimes we double check.
So can you give us some ideas of like a smaller mid-sized business that would be poised to do this, to go international? What would that look like? What characteristics would they have, and that kind of thing?
Sure. Typically they already have an established business, and they're really wanting to level up. There has been some incidents that came up that the folks that the business was meant for a foreign audience. So we can work with those guys and make sure they're ready. And again, it's usually that level up, to expand their business, and come see me, and then we'll work with them, get them ready for that. It's not as hard as you think, but it's probably not as easy as selling it to somebody in South Dakota.
Questions. Thanks for the list. When you think of the list you have of the companies that we're currently doing business with, are there 2 or 3 countries that you would like to do business with that we're not? And I'm curious as to why we're not able to.
So, and just to clarify, that list, let's see if I can find it again. This list is not, we do, North Dakota does business with 150 countries. You'd actually be amazed. But so we do a lot of business. The The thing about international business, international relations, something is always happening in the world stage to interrupt trade, interrupt business, interrupt the world. And the thing about it is you always have to have somebody with their foot on the gas pedal. You know what I'm saying? You might have to let off on it, but some of these countries, and you know what? You can look at this list and look, you know, it amazes me how much business we're doing with these countries. And you can actually see that how many of these countries, you know, not 60 years ago, we were at war with them. So the world changes really fast, and you've got to have folks that are monitoring that and watching that, and you always got to keep those relationships up.
So my second question is, I just came back from Spain after a couple weeks, and I mean, obviously they're not on the list, but my question is, I was in some bigger cities there, and there were protests against the U.S., and I'm kind of wondering, with the current political climate as it is right now, are you seeing any impact on the things that you're trying to do for North Dakota?
Well, yeah, I knew this question was coming up. And you got to be honest, yep, bad. And the one that scares me the most, I also serve as the honorary consul for Canada for North Dakota. So keep this in mind when I tell you this. I've seen it with Canada. And by far, Canada is our biggest partner. And with both of my positions, I see data coming from the federal government as well as from the Canadian government. So one of the things that really scared me, they had a list of the most impacted states. Both sides, both decided to use blue as a color to color in the maps. And it was the darker color was the most impacted state. Us in Vermont were pitch black. So it's really causing a lot of issues because we have so much back and forth traffic. And especially with some of our commodities. If you look at our commodity footprint, we're more aligned with Saskatchewan and Manitoba than we are with our sister states. So it's a problem. And again, you need somebody to, you know, and we need to be the bigger state. If that's the direction we want to go and keep up relations and saying, hey, we'll let Washington and Ottawa do what they're doing and stuff like that. We still want to be your friends.
So I'm interested in doing international trade. Let's just hypothetically say that. What does a conversation with you look like? What does the process look like? Can you walk me through? I'm sure it looks different for everybody, but kind of a general idea.
Sure, and it does look different for everybody. But you usually start with that initial conversation. Just call us up and say, hey, we're interested in doing international business, international trade. You know, and that's, the trade office is a little bit misleading for the name, for people that aren't familiar with how this works. So that's a big blanket that covers a lot of stuff. So a lot of people get focused on, you know, just the trade aspect. But if you're interested in trade or anything international, you'd give us a call. We'd go through a process. We'd look at your system. We'd actually run reports. And we would actually find you companies, not just countries, that would probably be interested in your product. And then we'll start working from there and get you lined up. We can tap into the Department of Commerce and find funding for some of this stuff, which is always important. We can, if it's a big enough project, we can elevate that and get you connected to the right folks. And you got to remember too, a lot of these countries, of course, they don't operate like the United States does. So a lot of times you have to go straight to the government, you know, and especially depending on what your product is. So we can also do that. We can help you align with, you know, for example, meeting with the Minister of Commerce for Uzbekistan, if that's where you want to go.
Very good presentation, by the way, thanks. One of the things we've had trouble with is we're able to find customers. We're having issues with, well, now we need an importer of record, or we need an employment agency in Mexico or Canada. So you got databases that help find customers. Do you have stuff that helps us with all that other stuff that goes along with doing business in another country?
We do. And we've got the right contacts again all over the world. And, we talked earlier about your situation, and I really think we can help out. Again, your issue with Mexico, we've had that problem with probably 100 North Dakota companies that are having issues in Mexico right now that we've had to work through. And a lot of it is we just know the people you need to talk to that can solve the problem pretty quick. Again, not always 100%, but we've worked with you through that and start the ball rolling on getting the problem resolved the best we can.
Do you find certain companies or certain countries are easier to access? Because I know when I look at that list up there, I've done work with a couple companies, and to what Mike is saying is you can find the customers within the country, but it's maneuvering through the political infrastructure to kind of take, because some of those countries up there are, I'm glad they're out there because some of them are not very easy to do business with, right? And I was born in Japan, but I look at Japan, and Japan can be difficult. That's pretty impressive that it's 309 million, because it's difficult to do work in Japan unless you're either from Japan or you actually have a company from Japan. And if that company is stationed in the U.S., then it's easier to work with those folks as well.
So I got maybe a little bit different spin on that. Yeah, every country is different, unique, has their own customs, all business practices, and how they conduct business. The gentleman mentioned Japan. Japan, I actually use that when I'm giving talks, especially to students, of how that's really impactful, because Japan is the quintessential foreign country that does stuff a little bit completely different. Japan, and this is what I try to tell our state officials as well, you've got to make that relationship, maintain that relationship, and keep that going even through the hard times, or Japanese won't do business with you. It is that initial meeting, and you don't ever expect anything to come out of it. I'm planning for 10 years a lot of times when I talk. And that's another thing that a lot of people can't understand. Bigger the project, it might take 10 years to get the designs done. And then, of course, they don't want anybody to know about it. So you just don't hear about it, but then all of a sudden you have these political upheavals that it's really hard. You're trying to navigate those. But as far as ease of doing business, once you get into a flow of how this stuff works, I wouldn't say they're all of them can be tough. It's just going in there and meeting the right folks and keeping the foot on the gas pedal. Again, Japan. You got to go over there all the time, and you got to meet with Japanese on their own soil. You got to call them up, hey, how you doing? Hadn't heard from you in a while. That sort of thing. So that's one of the things that we do, especially with the bigger companies. And, successful. Some of this stuff's taken, 6 years, but now we have big Japanese companies poking around North Dakota, or they were. So.
Awesome. So we've got an online question. If you could remove one policy or barrier to making exporting easier, what would it be?
So, and I only had one.
If you need a couple more, that's fine. But
Yeah. So the big one right now, no disrespect to the Trump administration, the tariffs is an issue. And if you look at the history of tariffs, tariffs went the way of the dodo bird probably before World War I. And that's how a company used to, a country used to receive a lot of the revenue. Why? Because it was really hard to tax the people and that sort of thing, and they couldn't run around, so that was a good way of doing revenue. And then you got this wooden ship that had a limited amount of things where a guy could really quickly, or a group of people could really quickly go and assess tariffs, and then they would pay that tariff before they could unload. And then you can imagine what it is nowadays. And the problem is that a lot of people think that is a tax. It is not. That is the companies let's say we've got a company that makes some widget, and we need that widget to build one of our parts. So now coming over, let's say it's coming from China. It's the only place you can get it, that widget. So it comes over and gets that tariff lumped into it. We don't get that tariff. What all that company does is, oh, okay, it costs 20% more. We're going to add 20% to the price of that deal, so it's a wash for them. But then the consumer is the one that actually has to pay the uplift.
So are there more than tariffs that you'd like to remove? Are there any other ones?
Yep. I wouldn't say more or less a policy. And again, you got to remember who you're talking to. And my passion is that there is this trend, and we saw it before, again, before World War II, where we can start becoming kind of isolationist, and that those days are over. And seeing it here in North Dakota, as much as we'd like to sustain ourselves, we can't do it. Soybeans, it's a great example. I know some of you guys have ate, what's that, edamame, and tofu and stuff like that. How many people here have it on a regular basis? Okay, got 2, yeah, 3. So most of our soybeans goes to animal livestock feed. Our farmers produce that. Canola, most of that goes to Canada, gets put in the mix. Some of it comes back here. Hogs, we've got one hog producing big plant up in close to the Canadian border. Those hogs go take a vacation in Canada, come back. Car parts, they go up to Canada, get a piece of whatever, and they come back. So again, to be prosperous, we do need to take the lead, we being the United States. But we need to do it smartly and not hit everybody with a stick.
So you were talking a little bit beforehand of all the places that you're going stateside. How many trips overseas do you end up taking a year? This is just my selfish question.
Okay. Me personally, so I maybe a little bit of bragging here, but in my career, I've been to 99 countries. Luckily, me and my wife, we're actually going to 100. I don't know if she did that on purpose. And I've never been to New York, so it's a little bit embarrassing too. So, not even for a layover. I know it's weird. But when we go on missions, a lot of times I have absolutely no desire to get on a plane and fly. Those cool things that went away decades ago. But the younger folks, I'm trying to get them out more. So me personally, I try not to go to too many, but sometimes I got to. We try to do 2, what we call trade missions. We do a lot, which is, that's where we take companies out and we're actually do back-to-back meetings for them and have a day doing that. And then we'll go and meet some government folks and do a whole week or whatever. And then we have missions that are specifically for an event, like we're going to be going to the United Kingdom for the Farnborough Air Show. The Paris Air Show and the Farnborough Air Show, they alternate every other year. So this year happens to be in the UK in Farnborough. It's right outside of London. It's got a big airstrip. It's a big show. We take a lot of our aeronautics folks, go to that. And so that's based around a show. And then ag is so important, and we do have that specialty crop grant. We work with the Department of Agriculture, North Dakota Department of Agriculture, and we go do their missions as well. We help them set it up and that sort of thing. So it's really hard to put a number on that. Of course, it has a lot to do with funding too, because it's a big outlay of cash. I just got back from Morocco. and that was a ag-led mission, which was super successful. Don't know if you guys know this, that Morocco buys a lot of ag products. They're also the #1 producer of fertilizer in the world. People don't know that. And they're also the first country to ever recognize the United States. Yeah, so good partners of ours. And then one that I wanted to mention, because I get thrown in these one-offs. So the government of India asked me to go over and represent North Dakota and do some things. So I was there last month for that trip, 2 weeks.
So what are some trends that we should be, as North Dakota businesses, that we should be paying attention to right now?
Yeah, I would be really paying attention to the world stage on everything. That's what's going on. So any kind of disruption, it's amazing to me because I've been on the other side of that equation of this wanting to blow people up and that sort of thing. It's that, people say war's good for business. It is for a certain sector, and it's really bad for just about everybody else. And I'm really concerned of we'll always recover. It's just how we're going to recover from a lot of this. High oil prices sound great for North Dakota and our oil companies. It's not the case because they've got to pay more for their input costs to get that oil out of the ground. So it's definitely a double-edged sword. Strait of Hormuz, I remember going over in my younger days as a Marine. That has always been a contested strait. So something probably should have happened a while back, but yeah, pay attention to what's going on in the world, and then pay attention to what's going on in North Dakota, because again, my opinion, we don't need to be an island, and we need to get out and stay on that world stage. Lots of opportunities, and if I may, I'd like to talk about Bismarck Mandan, because this is my home. A lot of the business that I do is either in the western side of the state, far west, or Fargo, Grand Forks, and now Minot. So, I think the Bismarck Mandan Chamber is doing some great things, and they're trying. Love those guys at Brenda, super good, work a lot with her, and we're trying to do more. But I really wish, and she does too, Bismarck and Mandan would find their niche. And this is just from my perspective. So I get these calls from ambassadors, prime ministers, whomever, kings, queens. They'll call up and say, hey, we've done our research, our people's done our research. We want to go, we want to meet with the governor, we want to do this, but then we want to go to Fargo. And then we want to go to Grand Forks to the UAS stuff, and or we want to go out to the oil patch. So I really think and wish, and not just for my sake, for the international business landscape, but also for the national landscape, that I wish Bismarck and Mandan would find our niche in the world in this region.
So what is the best or most interesting part of your job? I mean, you've got Queens calling you, you've got all these people calling you. Tell me more.
Okay. Well, I was really lucky, and I think I have the best job in North Dakota. And I'd say this, it was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to get here. Unfortunately, a lot of blood. To be able to, learn some of these things that I did and make some of these contacts. And everybody knows this, it's a business person. It's all about who you know to help you get those resources or help you get those ideas. So my poor mother, I've been a vagabond since I got out of high school, basically, and was able to build up those contacts. So just about everything we do is neat, and I got to be really honest with myself. I really enjoy being a part of something bigger than I am. So whatever I can do to help the state that's my niche. That's what I like doing. So that's what keeps me motivated. State's given me a lot. I want to get back to it.
Kind of a similar question, but when you're entertaining people from other countries, what do they find the most interesting or fascinating about North Dakota that would seem odd to us?
Oh, yeah, great question. Would you like to make a guess on what that is? Anybody want to make a guess? It is, 100%. So they come in, they say, I want to meet the governor. All right, let's go. I got to say, especially now, I'm on the phone, hey, you got 5 minutes? Oh, yeah, absolutely. They'll meet with, and that's the neat thing. Hey, I got a guy that he just wanted to see what was going on, a farmer from the Ukraine. A lot of people don't know this too. North Dakota revolutionized the Ukraine farming until the Russians blew it up. But of course, we also did that portion of Russia that they also blew up. We had a lot of North Dakota companies that had offices in the Ukraine, in Russia. So, but anyway, farmer from the Ukraine. Hey, you got time to meet with this farmer and blow him away? Oh yeah, bring him in. Or hey, I'll eat lunch with you guys. So that's 100% it, is the friendliness. The problem that we get into, gotta be honest with you, in North Dakota, is when we get, hey, I want to go build a plant in North Dakota, and so I need 1,000 people. Ain't got it. Or I want to get this plant permitted, and then we start getting into the the regulatory side and the permitting side and stuff like that. And you got to remember, a lot of these people come and go, hey, provincial governor or whatever governor, I'm going to put a plant right here. Okay, enjoy. Here's some rules. But here you get through this, and it happens in most of the states. You get through this bureaucratic process, and a lot of times they're like, we got to do what? Forget it. We got this labor issue, and then, we're going to be hung up for a couple years. And, another problem we've had is the word gets out because we're small. And some of these companies, they don't want their competitors knowing they're out here, going through those processes. And then, all of a sudden it gets elevated. I've had that happen quite a bit where they're like, we're done with that. So it's kind of frustrating.
So do you have like a cookie cutter, like I'm going to take them to Space Aliens, we're going to go check out New Salem Sioux, and then go check out the oil patch? Or like, what are your go-to places that you like to show of North Dakota?
Yeah, I do have some cookie cutters. So it is and I have a personal collection when you mentioned New Salem Sioux. So I either get a picture with them. I have a collection of pictures at New Salem Sioux, and I'll talk about her in a minute. And then the mastodon at the Heritage Center, I can get a picture there, or then the bison there in Jamestown. So I try not to do New Salem Sioux because I don't care what kind of official they are. You always get a picture of them with the holding. So it's, I had one of the whales, and super great lady. So I'm actually working on my PhD in international relations because I'm stupid, really. But it's, I had the EU ambassador to the United States, which is, I was just, woo, because I had just read about some of her policies. And we had to take this long drive out to Watford City and back. So it was really cool for me to have this, all-day event with her. And I was like, hey, do you want to see New Salem Sioux? And, I showed it to her on the way there, and sure enough, she did. And I was like, she's such a proper lady, and all that. Yep, she did it. Yeah, so what I typically do is we always get those, because you got to remember too, not all of these guys are official. Some of these are businesses. You know, and I'll give you an example. So Korea, we also have a really great relationship with Korea. It has a lot to do with one of my coworkers, Ji-won Kim, he's actually a U.S. citizen, but was born and raised in Korea. So he's worked it hard. North Dakota is the #1 supplier of pasta to Korea, by the way. So we do a lot of business in Korea. And you'll have a Korean company. I worked for a Korean company for a while, Hyundai Heavy Industries. So, you know, you'll have a bigger company like Hyundai or whatever, a president or vice president come out and say, hey, okay, you told us all this great stuff. Now I want to go see it. And I want to talk to this person, this person. So those are pretty cookie cutter. You always try to get them into the governments to see how friendly and easy it is to do business. But you know, it really depends on what they want, and we'll take them all over the state. I have a fellow from Mexico that is coming up in a few weeks, and he is interested in beef genetics. So I've got all these cowboys lined up and he specifically wants North Dakota genetics because he heard about what is going on in went on in Kazakhstan. And I don't know, some of you probably remember that when they were flying live cattle to Kazakhstan, that was through the trade office. And they did 15 loads. Yeah. So.
It's my turn.
Okay.
So I get to ask the last question every day, every week. So this is a little bit different. So what can we as the 1 Million Cups community do to help the trade office? Or what is the one piece of advice that you could give to people about trade?
Sure, that is a great question, and I really appreciate that question. So my ask to you guys in this community is help us over here getting the word out about what we do. Because I think, especially before I took over, we were really centered around the Fargo area in the eastern part of the state, because that's where they have a lot of commodities get traded and sold. And then you have Grand Forks and the two major universities, they got UAS stuff going on, is to help us out here. And again, this is my hometown, and help us, help you, and we can all be successful and, you know, really find that niche for Bismarck Mandan. I think we really need it, but what is it? You know, we got a lot of opportunities. We got land, we got water, we got energy, the whole 9 yards. We just got to figure out what we want and what we can do, what can be the attractor to it. Another thing is also talk to your legislators and, you know, let them know how important this is to the state as a whole. We contribute on any given year, you put it all in a package, about $6.5 billion to the economy in North Dakota. And again, we're just like the rest of the state. We try to keep, you know, we don't want to go out and say, woo, look at what we're doing and all that stuff. And it just gets overlooked. And a lot of people forget most of what's produced in North Dakota, like the vast majority, like 90-something%, I think it's actually 89, 88, somewhere around there, but we'll make it 90, that leaves the state. So, and then most of that, like 60% of that, goes overseas. So if you guys, let me help you, that's how you can help me. And let's work together. I'm local, I'm always home. I'd love to have, you know, lunch with you, or, you know, come by and meet you, have coffee, and let's talk about it. If you have a product or a business, I want to help you. And the price is right, you know. You might think I'm a moron, but, you know, hey, if you don't like me, I can get you somebody else. And then what was your last part of that before we go? My advice. Yeah, always think about what's going on in the rest of the world, because it impacts North Dakota. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time out and educating us all. We're very appreciative. Let's give them another round of applause, you guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
We've got lots of great ones coming up here. Next week we've got the North Dakota Nurse Honor Guard. I am excited for what they have prepared for us. And then we've got Dakota Patient Advocate Solutions coming up and Bismarck Larks. So let's see you next week, Wednesday. Thanks again, you guys.